This is a test of frequency instruments, bass, drums, distortion.
What happened? How did it turn out? What did you find? Did you go into it with an expectation of, we're just in love, we don't see colour? What happened when you were walking down the road? What happened when you met her family, his family, or they met your family? How did it work out? I'm just interested, because quite often we think love is something that conquers all. I don't know that it does. I don't. So I need you to talk to me. Is that all right? 0800 731 2000. Kate Williams is the mother of a mixed-race daughter, Ruby, and before marrying her husband and having a daughter, she didn't understand some of society's unconscious bias at the level she does now. I don't know what that means, Kate, but I'm sure you're going to tell me. How are you, Kate?
Hi, how are you?
Am
I a regular now? I don't know.
I don't know, but was this 2 or 3 times now? I'm not sure that makes you.
Twice.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you a regular. People on here. You just have to. Anyway, I better not do that. I'm grateful for anybody who would engage in a conversation with me and keep me in employment and feed my children. I'm happy. Kate, is your husband the first black guy you'd ever been with?
No, he's not actually. I moved to London when I was 16 years old. I grew up in northeast Lincolnshire, so where I grew up was very, very white. Not really. I can't really remember anyone in my entire secondary school who wasn't sort of white, Anglican, whatever the phrase is. So when I moved to London. So no, Lenny wasn't my first black boyfriend, but he will be my last, hopefully.
Don't make me laugh.
When I moved to London at 16, I think, bright-eyed, wide-eyed, naive northern girl, really.
Let's talk about Lenny, because it's safer, because he might be listening.
Yeah, he might be listening.
So let's stay on safe ground. I've learned this in my life. Let's stay on safe ground, okay? So do you have to take him home to meet mum and dad, or are they used to you and the sort of people that you like? Well, tell me how it works. Yeah,
do you know what? My mum and dad are very sort of laid back, open-minded, socialist. They're sort of very forward-thinking. So, as long as I didn't bring a Tory home, they were fine. Am I allowed to say that on the radio? I don't know.
No, you're not. But you've said it. So
I've said it now.
So when he walks in, and I've seen him, haven't I?
Lenny's a Rasta as well.
He was the miserable Rasta that was sat out in the corridor when he came.
Do you know what? It's been a very long day, Eddie. We've been set off.
I came to greet him. No, I'm not having it. I came to greet him, and he gave me the long face. So I'm calling him miserable. Right, there you go.
That's why you wanted me in. That's why you wanted me.
I wanted you so you could tell him that he said he's miserable. No, but so you. What's it like when you walk down the road then and now? I mean, is it different now you've got a daughter? Is it different 13, 14, 15 years later? Just talk to me, Kate.
We live in Hackney. I heard you saying that you grew up in Hackney. So I have to say, living in Hackney it's never really been an issue, living in Hackney. As soon as we go out of London, that's when you feel it.
What do you feel, Kate? You're going to have to do it for me here.
Well,
let's not presuppose anybody knows what you're talking about.
People do stare, and where I'm from in northeast Lincolnshire, when I took Lenny back there, when I think really early on, so like maybe 1998, 1999, I remember we were out the car seconds before someone called him the N-word. And then a few minutes later, a group of young girls asked him some very personal questions about his body, and it's the ignorance. People can think that the ignorance isn't there, but the ignorance is there.
Right. So hold on, because so I walk down the road with my children. Right? My children are the most inquisitive people you could meet, and if there's anybody who is in any way different, hair, face, ability, color, whatever, my children will stare. I refuse to accept that they stare on the basis of hatred. They stare because something is alien, different to them. What did you feel?
Children staring, if I'm honest, Lenny's one of these people who quite enjoys that. We went on holiday to this island in France when we were first together, and children were literally following him in the street, and he loved it. And then when we went into the one and only nightclub on the island, they started playing Bob Marley.
The minute you, I know that. I've been there.
And he loves it. He loves it. So Lenny's someone who doesn't mind being the centre of attention and doesn't mind people asking him questions.
But
he's fine with that. We were in the British Museum once, and these tourists all wanted their picture taken with him. So he doesn't mind that.
What did you find out? Okay, let me ask you then, because you're on the phone, not him. So what did you find out about yourself? What did you find out about your society? And what did you find out about people in relation to walking down the road with a black man?
I mean, little things like I grew up. I didn't know anything. When I moved to London at 16, my first two friends, first two girls at 16, one was of Jamaican heritage, one was of Nigerian heritage. And the girl who was Jamaican heritage was quite fair-skinned, and the girl who was Nigerian heritage was quite dark-skinned. Now, my naive brain just made that decision that anyone who was fair-skinned was from the Caribbean, and anyone who was dark-skinned must be from Africa. And I don't know why I made that up, and why I just presumed that. But then it took me meeting fair-skinned people from Africa and darker-skinned people from so I think that's the thing. As white people, we make these shortcuts, we make these snap decisions of what is real, not based in actual fact or not based in actually acting. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is to just try and hang back a bit and just observe and listen to people, and that way you learn. Instead of opening your big mouth and you say the wrong thing, just listen, or say, I don't know how I should say this, and then someone will tell you.
And what about when you decided to have children? How did the conversation develop?
I mean, I'll be honest, I did worry about having mixed race children, because when I first moved to London, I remember meeting someone at sixth form as well, and she seemed very confused about who she was, and you just seemed very she didn't have a clear identity in who she was, and she was trying to work that out, which I now know as a grown woman that's perfectly normal, and we all go through that. But at the time I thought it was because she was mixed race. So I remember thinking, I'm going to bring these children into the world, are they going to be okay, are they going to know who they are? But Lenny was just very reassuring that we live in Hackney. There's actually probably more mixed race people in Hackney than there are white people, to be honest. Maybe not so much now, but certainly when Ruby was born. But I think for me it was about educating myself. So it was about making sure that I read books, talked to people, listened to people. This is something that was maybe a bit contentious in my family, because for me their black identity was always more important to them, more important to me that they understood it than their white identity.
Why?
Because that's what people see. I realised very early on that when my children walk down the street, people are not going to know. They are going to see a young black man or a young black woman. That's what they will see. So they need to be secure in that identity. And the fact that they have a white mum is almost irrelevant, if I'm honest. I mean, obviously, they love me, they're interested in who I am, but the fact that I'm white doesn't really impact on their life.
You don't think so?
Not in terms of, if we're talking about unconscious bias, not in terms of getting a job and getting on in life and all.
But do you recognise it? Yeah, but you talking about dark-skinned people coming from Africa and light-skinned. I mean, that's kind of.
10 sources also insisting that Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane will continue to work for the Prime Minister and Number 10 until mid-December.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So it is earlier than we thought they were going, but Number 10 now insisting, contrary to what was being said an hour ago, that they are going to carry on at least for another month or so.
Why bother? Why don't they just pack? Well, he's packed his box. He's taken it out in the most dramatic, theatrical manner, wanting everybody to think he's going. Everybody says he's going. So why bother staying till the middle of December?
Is a very good question, and I think the assumption when it was announced that they were leaving immediately was that they'd come to the same decision, and the Prime Minister had too, that there was nothing to be gained from them staying. But Number 10 sources literally in the last 2 minutes, Andrew, saying that they will continue to work until mid-December. What that means is unclear. There's quite a lot of wiggle room for continue to work.
Yeah.
Will they be going to the office day in, day out? Will they be doing the jobs that they've been doing up till now? All of that unclear, but they are not fully leaving Number 10 for another month or so, according to our sources.
All right, that's Ben Kentish bringing you the breaking news from Downing Street. So Cummings appeared to have walked out for the last time with his box of possessions. Going to hang on for a few more weeks. I'm asking you this. Does this say even more? This is a government in chaos and confusion. Is the Prime Minister on top of his game? If you voted for the Tories and Boris Johnson, are you disappointed how well or badly they're doing? Or do you think this is now gives them a new chance to reset the dial? I think it's been unending chaos for weeks, and I think Mr. Cummings is part of the problem. He seems to specialise in offending people, whether it's MPs or ministers, and I think perhaps he should. I thought when he was walking out with his box, that was it for good. What do you think? Is it time now for Boris to completely reset the dial? Let me tell you about Eddie Lister, who's now going to be the acting chief of staff. He was a leader of Wandsworth Council for about 19 or 20 years. He's a grown-up. He's 71. He'll do a good job. He won't go out of his way to antagonise people, but he doesn't want the job permanently. Who does want that job? Who should it be? You're listening to me, Andrew Pearce. The time is 6:15. We're going to get the headlines now. Bill Overton.
Dominic Cummings, the Prime Minister's controversial advisers, left Downing Street with immediate effect. Government scientists hint the spread of coronavirus in the UK is slowing down. They've revised down the R number. And the Education Secretary's announced plans to review the university admissions system in England. The weather, showers and gale-force winds picking up for Northern Ireland, Wales and the West tonight. Milder in the south, chillier in the north, a low of 6 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Shayna Rees Nice, and there are delays of half an hour north on the M1 towards Toddington at 12 after an earlier accident, all that has been cleared. The north sector is queuing westbound from the Neasden interchange to an accident near Brentfield Road. Only one lane's open. It's also queuing west from the A10 at Edmonton to roadworks at Bowes Road. Emergency repairs in Tulse Hill are partly blocking the southbound side of Brixton Hill near the South Circular. There are delays back to Brixton Station. And we've still got this police investigation in Kenton shutting at Northwick Avenue from Kenton Road to Farrans Court. Northwick Park Tube is also shut. Elsewhere on the tube, just mileage delays on the Circle Line and also eastbound on the Hammersmith and City Line.
This is LBC.
As we all adjust to the latest government guidance, at Tesco we wanted to reassure you that we're doing everything we can to help you shop safely. We're installing a simple traffic light system at the entrance to our larger stores to help manage the flow of customers. And we're continuing our dedicated hours for vulnerable customers and giving NHS workers priority access. All our colleagues are provided with face coverings to protect themselves and you. We ask that you wear yours as well. Tesco. Every little helps. See tesco.com for more details.
LBC.
Betfair Casino launches brand new slot games every week.
Taking place. Well, clearly there is a disconnect because the Mayor of London and your boss, the Met Commissioner, have come up with this. This isn't something that, people have made up. This is something that they've come up with because he runs London and she runs the police force, service, and they think that these things would make it better.
No, I do as well, Eddie. I'm not saying it won't make things better.
I'm just working it through with you, but I've asked you why black people are 6 times more likely to be stopped in their car, 4 times more likely to be stopped as they're going along the road. They haven't done the numbers, but certainly from the calls that I've had, more likely apparently to be handcuffed when somebody is carrying out a search.
And again, that's being reviewed very carefully, the handcuffing side of things. But
it's horrible, Ken. If I got stopped in my car, it's happened to my mate, and they say, excuse me, and before they've looked for my tax, my insurance, my details, they're putting on handcuffs on me just in case. It presumes that I'm a tow rag. It presumes that I'm a wrong un, and everybody, well, it does. I'm telling you how I feel and how my mates feel.
You can tell me it does, but I'm a warranted police officer, and we have a duty of care to my colleagues as well. And I think that's being passed by the wayside a bit here. 32,000 cops, and recently we lost one tragically, you know, because we have to protect ourselves.
Yeah, but don't use that one. That's a terrible one, because the person who did it probably was wearing handcuffs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But if we feel that there is rationale requirement to place handcuffs, that's our power, Eddie. We have to justify
I accept that, but that is what this is all about, Ken.
Yeah.
It is about looking at somebody and going, there's a black guy in a nice car, he must have done something wrong, let me stop him. Well, but that's what, no, because when we talk generally. This report is focused on black people, and that is what we are talking about. I'm not picking on it because I feel like talking about black guys today. I promise you, I do a show for the whole of London, and it would be in my interest not to focus on a particular group. We're talking about this because this is the report, Ken, and I respect you, and I tell you every time you come on, you don't run away from it, you don't hide away from it, and some of your bosses could do well with listening to you. I appreciate you coming on, but we are going to go for it, and we are going to do it. If you tell me about rationale, it doesn't work for me, because rationale determines that you put me in handcuffs on the basis of the skin color, which means that you can do anything on the basis of my skin color.
No, I haven't said that at all. What I'm trying to get across is that that officer will make a dynamic decision there and then as to their capability of what they're dealing with and what their powers are, and whether they can or can't do what they're doing, and they will document that. And
I accept that, but what I'm trying to point out, and I think it's borne out by the changes that have been made, is on the basis of what?
On the basis of what's in front of them. Forget creed, colour, nationality or anything. On the basis of what they are dealing with.
No, I can't. I can't forget colour, because it's determined every single thing that's happened to me in my life.
So please don't tell me.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
On the basis of what? And that was the basis.
The 6 times more likely to be stopped in their car, 4 more times more likely to be stopped as they're walking along, sir.
Well, I've answered that, Ed. I've given you the answer as to why my colleagues do what they do.
Let's talk about the Bianca Williams story then.